Have you ever looked at your dog and wondered what's going on inside that furry head? What if I told you they're experiencing a world completely hidden from your own senses? A reality filled with secret sights, sounds, and feelings you can't even begin to imagine. For my dog, Max, and for every dog, this isn't science fiction, it's their everyday reality. It all started when I noticed Max staring intently into a corner of the living room, completely captivated by what seemed to be, well, nothing at all. He just sat there head cocked as if watching a silent movie that only he could see. I called his name, but he was locked in. It was a little unsettling, but it made me wonder, what was he really seeing? This seemingly empty corner was my first clue that Max was tuned into a different frequency of life. A world that exists just beyond the limits of human perception. It was the beginning of a journey into understanding the 6 incredible senses that allow him to perceive a reality I could only dream of. The first hidden sense is their incredible hearing. One evening, as Max was dozing, his ears suddenly twitched and stood at attention. The room was silent to me, but he was clearly hearing something. It turns out, our home electronics, like the TV, emit ultrasonic sounds. High-frequency noises that are completely inaudible to human ears. While I was sitting in blissful silence, Max was picking up on a symphony of whines and buzzes that constantly fill our modern homes. For him, a quiet room is never truly quiet. It's a landscape of hidden sounds that give him information about the world around him, from a buzzing television to the tiny squeak of a mouse hiding in the walls. Next, we explored the world of sight, but not as we know it. We were in the garden, and Max seemed fascinated by a simple flower. To me, it was just a yellow petal, but dogs can see ultraviolet light, a spectrum of color that is invisible to us. When you look through a dog's eyes, that same flower reveals intricate, glowing patterns on its petals. These UV markings act like a secret map for pollinators, but for Max, they turn an ordinary plant into a beacon of light. This ability paints the natural world in a completely different palette, revealing a layer of visual information that we are completely blind to. Then there's their built-in compass. I'd always noticed a funny little ritual Max does before he settles down for a nap. He'll spin around a few times before finally flopping onto the ground. I used to think it was just him getting comfortable, but it's so much more than that. Dogs are sensitive to the Earth's magnetic field, and research suggests they often align themselves with the north-south axis when they rest. That little spin isn't random. It's him orienting himself, using an invisible force that blankets the entire planet as his personal compass. He's literally in tune with the Earth in a way we can only achieve with technology. Their senses can even predict the future, or at least the weather. One sunny afternoon, Max became unusually anxious. He started whining and pawing at the door, desperate to get inside, even though the sky was perfectly clear. A few hours later, a massive thunderstorm rolled in. Dogs are incredibly sensitive to changes in barometric pressure. They can feel the drop in atmospheric pressure that signals an approaching storm long before we see the first cloud. It's an internal weather forecast, a primal warning system that tells them when it's time to seek shelter. Perhaps most profoundly, dogs can smell things we can't even comprehend. One day, Max became fixated on my leg, sniffing it persistently with a worried look. I didn't think anything of it, but it turns out dogs have a sense of smell so powerful they can detect the subtle biochemical changes in the human body associated with illness. This incredible ability allows them to smell diseases like cancer or an impending seizure. They are picking up on scent signatures that are, to us, completely non-existent, acting as the most loyal and loving biological early warning systems. Finally, beyond the physical, their senses extend to the emotional realm. I was having a particularly bad day, trying my best to hide my sadness and put on a brave face. But you can't fool a dog. Max seemed to bypass my facade completely. He walked over, nudged my hand, and gently rested his head on my lap, looking up at me with those deep, knowing eyes. He didn't need words. He could sense my emotional state through subtle shifts in my posture, scent, and tone of voice. He was tuned into my heart. As I held Max close, I looked at him with a completely new sense of awe and wonder. He wasn't just my pet. He was a guide to a world unseen, a creature of profound and mysterious perception. And in that moment, I understood that the greatest gift he gives me isn't just his loyalty or his love. but the humbling reminder that there is so much more to this world than what we can see, hear, or feel.